I bet we can all agree that there's no worse feeling than having achieved everything that we set out to achieve, everything that we wanted, everything that was supposed to make us happy and that society tells us should make us happy, but still feel this emptiness inside, this feeling that something is missing, that all we're doing is just running in circles. And yes, we're fulfilling everything that we set out to do and we're fulfilling everything that society is expecting us to do, but at the same time, there's no real progress, no real progression to that feeling of actually being free, to the feeling of actually being in a place where we can be ourselves. And that is how I was feeling for years when I was working as a corporate lawyer, and objectively, I had it all. I had the job, I had the career, I had the lifestyle, I was traveling, I was partying. I had it all. And I almost felt this guilt of not being able to say it out loud because I should be happy. I should be happy and I should be fulfilled. And the only reason I'm not is because I look at what other people have that I don't have. The grass is always greener on the other side. And because I was scared of people saying that, I would just shut up and not talk about it at all. But the reality is that for years, I felt that something was off, something was missing, and I could have and should have something different in my life. And I wanted it, but I was also scared of making that move, of making the decision to leave what I had built, to leave the career that I built, to leave the life that I built, and to seek out something different. Now, the reality is also that most of us don't just wake up someday and dread having to go to a job that they never wanted. The reality is that most of us, we really wanted that job. We really wanted that career. But for some reason, it doesn't feel right anymore. It could be because your value system changed. You decided to do that job, but while you were doing it, or you opted for that career, but while you were doing it, your value system changed and you started to value different things. It could also be that the reality of the job, the reality of the career is simply not in alignment with what you thought it would be. You expected something else and now you're here and it's simply not what you expected. And then there are also some people who just somehow did it because society told them to do it, their family told them to do it, and they never really wanted it and only now are in a place to admit it to themselves. And we all fall in different ones of these categories. For me, it was for sure a change in my value system. I started valuing something else and something else more. And because of that, I wasn't feeling that fulfilled anymore. Now, the problem is, it reminded me of this quote that I heard as a child. This quote was something along the lines of, if you wake up too many days in a row and look at yourself in a mirror, dreading the day ahead, then you need to change something. And I was in exactly that position where I would wake up, I'd go to the bathroom, I would take a shower, I would brush my teeth, still completely tired from not really sleeping properly, sleeping just a couple hours, looking at myself in the mirrors day in, day out, telling myself that, well, I was kind of dreading the day ahead. And yes, it wasn't every day, and there would be days where I actually enjoyed it because I had this weird love-hate relationship with work where on the one hand, I really felt like I didn't want to work, but at the same time when I was there, I really enjoyed working with my colleagues. I really enjoyed the challenging aspect of my work. So there was this love-hate dynamic, I would say. But overall, in the big scheme of things, there were just too many days where I thought, man, I need to change something. And if that is something that you experience, then that is the point in time where you need to say, enough is enough. I cannot keep having that feeling every single morning for the foreseeable future, because the reality is, if you don't make a change at some point, you will just go on, drag out that feeling, and eventually you'll end up being actually too old to make a change, because at some point it's just pretty much time to finish the career rather than to switch into a new career. So while you still can, you should make a switch rather than sitting it out until at some point you're 50, 55, 60, and you look back to your life wondering why the fuck you never actually made the move. Why the fuck you stayed in that thing that you didn't really enjoy. And don't get me wrong, you might actually kind of like it, but the enemy of the great is the good. You could have an amazing life if only you made that move out of the position that you are in right now that is kind of good, but you know is not perfect. So what we're going to do is I'll take you through the exact process that I have used, and it can actually be broken down into 3 steps. The first one is understanding your values and creating a vision that is rooted in those values. I'm not going to go into detail here because I actually made an entire video on this topic that is part of my educational program, and I published it on my YouTube for free. So I'm going to put the link somewhere here for you to go watch it in depth, where I explain exactly how to do it. This is absolutely key. If you don't do this, you don't even need to watch the rest of the video. I don't even want you to watch the rest of this, because if you don't understand how to create a vision that is rooted in your values, there's no point in even doing the remainder of the things that I'm going to talk about. It all starts with you understanding what you truly value and then creating that vision, something that is so strong that you actually want to turn it into reality. Once you created the vision, you will most likely still feel, and that is where the second step takes us, you will still feel that resistance, that feeling of uncertainty. You will have these doubts telling yourself, well, the situation that I'm in right now, the job that I have right now, the business that I have right now that I don't really enjoy doing anymore, I know what it is. And the devil, is oftentimes less scary than the uncertainty that's on the other side of making that move. So you need to understand that whatever you want is on the other side of uncertainty, and learning to cope with that uncertainty, learning to be okay with that uncertainty is easy if you can be certain about your own skill sets. Let me repeat that. Uncertainty in results is okay as long as you are certain in your abilities, because certainty in your abilities will give you certainty that you can do anything you want, that you can achieve anything you want. So what we're going to do in this second exercise, I want you to take a pen and paper, and I want you to start writing an evidence list. An evidence list that teaches you, that shows you, that illustrates all of the things you've achieved in your past. I want you to really write it down. What are the great achievements you've done? Great achievements you've done. What are the smaller and medium achievements you've done? What are the skills you've successfully taught yourself that you have learned, maybe with a coach, maybe with a mentor, maybe from YouTube? What are the things other people look up to you for? What are the character traits that define you, that set you apart from others? Are you a hard worker? Are you dedicated? Are you a visionary? What are the things that you're good at? And then I want you to write down what you're bad at. What character traits would maybe hold you back from succeeding? And I want you to really get specific on these things, because once you understand this, once you have an evidence list of why you are going to be successful, and once you see what could potentially hold you back, you know that you're going to make it by just focusing on the positives, and if necessary, make adjustments on the negatives. And that takes me to the third and final step, which arguably is going to be the hardest part here, which is actually putting the whole thing into action. Once you know where you want to go, you have the certainty to do it, you need to put it into action, which is solely down to you. Now, the thing here is you have to keep in mind that you will always be a product of your environment. We are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with, but we will always be subject to entropy of our environment pulling us back to its level. So the more you're going to set yourself apart from the environment, the harder it's going to be. What you want to do is you want to surround yourself with other people that are like you, that have similar goals to you. If necessary, move countries. That's just how it is. Now, the problem is if you're scared of doing anything, if you have that feeling right now like, oh yeah, I just cannot do it, then that is a problem of the second step. It is a problem of you not having certainty. And the solution to this is what I tell most of my clients is you have to set a hard physical goal. I want you to regain that consciousness, that clarity of your own competence. And what I did, because I struggled with this part the most, I had such a long time where I knew what I wanted. I knew what I had to do, but I just didn't have the self-belief that I could do it. I didn't have the self-belief that, well, if I did that and I failed, could I actually come back to my work, and would people still value me, and wouldn't people laugh about me behind my back, and all of these nagging self-doubts that some of them I wouldn't even verbalize in my head. But my coach back then got me to do a kickboxing fight and commit to train for that and take it serious. And training for that fight, doing something that actually scared me, doing something that forced me to rely on myself, It made me realize that I could rely on myself, that I could make the things happen that I set out to do. And that is the realization that I want you to have. So if you have right now, while watching this video, this feeling that yes, I know what I want to do, and yes, I should be able to do it, but I can't get myself to do it, then forget everything we talked about and set a hard physical goal for the next 90, next 120 days. If you've never run a marathon, pick a marathon. If you've been running a bit, pick an ultra marathon. If you've been wanting to get into boxing, start going to boxing and set as a goal to go to your first sparring session in 90 days. If you've already been boxing for a bit, commit to having a boxing fight in the next 4 months. Just do it. Do something that actually legitimately terrifies you a little bit. Something that scares you. It should be a little bit scary. And then do it. Prove it to yourself that you can do it. This is where literally magic happens. Now I'll leave you with a quote. Heavy wears the head that heavy is the head that wears the crown. Quote I heard this week that really resonated with me. What it essentially means to me is that when you wear a crown, so if you want to be the king, if you want to be successful, if you want to be greater than you are now, don't expect things to be easier than they are now. If you want more, expect things to get harder. They might be easier, they might be more fun, but expect them to be harder. Don't expect things to get easy. Expect having to do the work. And I'll leave you on that note. If you're not subscribed to my channel yet, I would really appreciate if you hit the subscribe button. Leave me any comments you might have. Hit me up with any questions you might have on Instagram. My DMs are open. I answer to all of my DMs myself. And I love you for watching this video. And I'll see you in my next video.